time to go to bed, Mama. You'll need some rest to face tomorrow.
Not just yet. This is my chance to say goodbye to my baby.
When Downton Abbey first hit screens back in 2010, nobody quite expected it to turn into the worldwide sensation it did. But it didn't take long for people everywhere to get swept up in the lavish world of the Crawley family and the many loyal staff who kept their grand Yorkshire estate running. Through 6 highly praised seasons, all brought to life by creator and writer Julian Fellowes, fans were treated to a rich blend of love stories, tragic losses, shocking scandals, and the kind of class struggles that defined early 20th century Britain. It was only natural that after such a beloved TV run, the story would eventually make its way to the big screen. The first film arrived in 2019, inviting us back to Downton just in time for a royal visit that stirred up excitement and a bit of chaos, both upstairs and downstairs. Then came a new era, which took everyone to the sunny south of France, all thanks to a mysterious inheritance, and also saw a bustling film crew invade the halls of Downton, something that greatly unsettled Lady Violet. That sequel ended on quite the bittersweet note as we watched the Dowager Countess, played so memorably by Dame Maggie Smith, pass away. It was more than just the loss of a character, it felt like a symbolic handover to the next generation. Now, all eyes are on Downton Abbey, the grand finale, a film that promises to be the last chapter in this long-running story. It's set to follow Lady Mary, her family, and the faithful staff as they face big changes, tackle new beginnings, and ultimately say their final goodbyes. This promises a movie full of heart, legacy, and plenty of emotion. So when exactly will the grand finale arrive? Fans won't have to wait too much longer. It's officially hitting cinemas on Friday, September 12th, 2025. That's a date a lot of people are already marking on their calendars, especially since the movie was first announced back in May 2024. It wasn't long after that announcement that cameras started rolling, and before we knew it, many familiar faces were back on set, stepping once again into the roles they've embodied for so long. This film will close the book on a story that kicked off 15 years ago when the original series aired on ITV. Those 6 seasons built an incredibly devoted fan base, and the 2 previous films only added to that excitement. Now, after a decade and a half of opulent dinner parties, heartfelt moments, and watching the world outside Downton Abbey shift with history, this movie aims to give the Crawleys and all of us who have followed them a truly fitting farewell. As for who's coming back, it's a pretty impressive lineup. Of course, Michelle Dockery returns as Lady Mary, still every bit the poised and determined daughter we've watched grow over the years. Hugh Bonneville will once again play Robert Crawley, with Elizabeth McGovern by his side as Cora. Laura Carmichael is back too, stepping into Lady Edith's shoes, ensuring the Crawley sisters are right at the heart of this final story. Alongside them are a bunch of beloved characters from both upstairs and downstairs. Jim Carter returns as Mr. Carson, still the very picture of dignity. Joanne Froggatt is back as the ever-kind Anna. Penelope Wilton will reprise her role as Isabel, and Brendan Coyle steps in once more as Mr. Bates. Then there's Phyllis Logan as Mrs. Hughes, Dominic West returning as Guy Dexter, Alan Leach as Tom Branson, Sophie McShera as Daisy, Leslie Nichols Mrs. Patmore, Kevin Doyle as Molesley, and Raquel Cassidy's Baxter. One exciting surprise is the return of Paul Giamatti, who last played Cora's eccentric brother Harold Levinson all the way back in the 2013 Christmas special. This time, he's rejoining the family for what promises to be quite the emotional send-off. New faces will pop up too, with Jolie Richardson, Alessandro Nivola, Simon Russell Beale, and Artie Frushan all joining the cast, even though their roles are still unknown. Interestingly, one notable absence is Matthew Goode, who previously played Henry Talbot. He won't be appearing in this film, which does have an impact on Lady Mary's storyline. More on that in a bit. When it comes to the plot, the film picks things up in the early 1930s, letting us follow the Crawleys and their trusted staff as they try to navigate a world that's changing faster than ever. Financial uncertainty, political shifts, and evolving social norms are all at play, promising to bring both challenges and opportunities. While there isn't a full detailed synopsis just yet, the early glimpses we've gotten all point to big themes of legacy, transition, and learning how to let go. Lady Mary seems to be stepping firmly into her role as the head of the estate, but that's not without its struggles. One particularly touching scene shows her grieving beside a portrait of her grandmother, the late Dowager Countess, a lovely nod to both the character and to Dame Maggie Smith, whose presence defines so much of the series. Meanwhile, the film's teaser trailer reveals that Mary's marriage is going through rough waters. It turns out that she and Henry Talbot are heading for divorce, which has caused quite the stir among their high society friends. This development is dramatic on its own, but it's also a smart way to explain Henry's absence, since Good couldn't return for this final installment. Directing duties for the grand finale are once again handled by Simon Curtis, who also directed A New Era. And with Julian Fellowes back to write the screenplay, you can trust that the story will stay true to the spirit of everything he's built over the past decade plus. If you're wondering whether there's a trailer yet, there is. The first teaser has already been released, and it's just as emotional as fans would hope. It brings back so many familiar faces, shows Lady Mary reflecting on all that's come before, and pays a heartfelt tribute to Violet. It really sets the tone for what promises to be an incredibly moving end. Because at its core, Downton Abbey has always been about these people, the upstairs family and the downstairs staff, whose lives were so deeply intertwined. It's why starting over with a brand new cast probably wouldn't work. Sure, there are the grand costumes, the gorgeous sets, and all those delicious plot twists, but none of that means much without these specific characters. Watching them grow, clash, forgive, and lean on each other through countless ups and downs is what kept audiences coming back year after year. Without Lord Grantham's steady leadership, Mary and Edith's complicated sisterly bond, Carson's booming authority, Bates's quiet loyalty, Mrs. Hugh's motherly wisdom, and Thomas Barrow's beautifully messy humanity, it simply wouldn't be Downton Abbey. That's why this final movie feels like such an important chance to give them all a proper goodbye. Speaking of Thomas, it's interesting that he hasn't shown up in any of the teaser footage yet. We do know that Robert James Collier is returning to play him, so it seems likely the filmmakers are holding back his scenes for a reason. The last time we saw Thomas, he had left Downton to work and live with Guy Dexter, finally finding love in a time when it wasn't safe to be open about it. Since Guy shows up in the trailer, there's hope Thomas will too, maybe just not in the halls of Downton itself. If his absence means he's living happily elsewhere, that's actually pretty reassuring, because after everything Thomas went through over the years, he deserves to have his story end on a genuinely good note. And really, so does everyone we've followed through all the triumphs and heartbreaks of this remarkable series. So as we get closer to that September release date, it's becoming clearer than ever that this isn't just about ending a show, it's about closing the door on an entire era of storytelling. And for fans who have spent so long wrapped up in the world of Downton Abbey, that's bound to be as bittersweet as it is unforgettable. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.